What's up, guys? Musty Hobbit back, and I am kicking off another episode of the ColleXion Chronicles. And so, recently I had a lot of friends who were attending the Barrie Game Exchange, which was a big game swap put on by Nintendo Hodge up in Barrie, Ontario. Fortunately, I live a little bit far away from Ontario, so I wasn't able to attend, but that didn't stop me from going out and finding some things. I hit up a couple of thrift shops and came away with some interesting stuff. Not all games. In fact, I'll start off with a couple of the things that are non-game related. I did pick up a couple of books. When you Run-In-To something like, well, we have the LEGO Star Wars Visual Dictionary, complete with, see, there's a nice little Celebration Luke right there in this, and this is basically they go through all the major characters and all the LEGO sets that they've ever made for those characters, and it's really interesting encyclopedia. But this is pretty sharp. It'll probably go nicely with my little Star Wars mini shrine up there. On top of that, one of my favorite game series is Mass Effect, and I happened across both the Mass Effect 2 Collector's Edition Strategy Guide, hardbound, and Mass Effect 3 hardbound Collector's Edition. So, both in surprisingly good condition, and for the price that I paid for them, I'm pretty content with those. But absolutely love this series. I am looking forward to Andromeda, and I have said that a few times. But hopefully, we'll get that soon enough, and we can continue on or blaze a new trail with whoever the new lead is in that game. I also picked up another hardbound Halo 5 Guardians Collector Strategy Guide. We've got Locke and Chief on there. Again, I love these, especially when they're hardbound, because they keep really well, and again, they put in so much time and effort into these. I know you can just go online. I know you can just go find this stuff without having to flip pages, but you know what? It's nice. It'll look really good with the other Halo things that I have. So, again, pick that up as well. One of the game shops I go to has a table. I mentioned this before. It's $1 a piece if you buy 5, and so what ends up happening is you may find 1 or 2 items that you like, and at that point it's pretty much worth just finding something to get yourself to 5. So there were a couple of times that I stopped in. One of them, I picked up a copy of, for Xbox, we got Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. And for $1, I couldn't pass up another copy of Mass Effect 2. It's a backup for me right now, although it maybe trade. I know that these 360 games really don't hold a lot of value right now. You can kind of, when this ends up in the dollar bin, you know that either they just had an overstock of them and we're just trying to liquidate some of them, or we'll see. Everything's going digital now, so I guess it is what it is. Something that I really haven't looked into finding digitally, but I found on PSP were Volume 2 and Volume 3 of Beavis and Butthead on UMD. So if I get that urge to watch some Beavis and Butthead on my PSP, I have that. This is what I was talking about when it comes to just throwing things in to get the 5 for 5 deal. The last thing I got with that little bundle, because that's 4, the 5th item, I was actually kind of surprised that this was $1. I don't know that I will use this because I'm not much for purses or bags, but it is an embroidered Mario Nintendo DS bag. Little flap on the top here. Spot for your DS, spot for some games, accessories, probably a charger in here too. But it's in amazing shape. So I'm pretty happy with that. And again, I'd buy that for $1. The other time that I stopped in, separate time, I picked up, again, 5 more titles. This one, I had heard this title. This is Red Steel, and this is for the Wii. I know the second game reviewed better than this one. I think this one had a lot of hype because there's Wii swordplay, but I've also read that the controls kind of bug out a little bit. So we'll have to see. Again, I don't collect a lot of Wii. I have maybe 5 titles. So it was worth a shot at $1. We'll go from there. This was an upgrade for me. I had the Platinum Hits version of this, and to let you know, I have kind of come to the end of my Xbox purge. I had sort of liquidated a lot of the titles that, right now really weren't doing much in my collection. I decided to let some of those go in hopes that I will eventually come across them again at some point in time in the future. But for now, I'm focusing really on first-party games, or not first-party games, but exclusives, the ones that have only on Xbox there. And so I got, now I have a non-Platinum Hits version of Project Gotham Racing, again, $1, and then Chase Hollywood Stunt Driver, which I was reading the back of this, and it focuses so much on how this is not Stuntman. I don't remember playing Stuntman, but apparently they decided that that was going to be their target audience, was attacking people who bought Stuntman. And then, can't go wrong here, Halo 2 and Halo 3. Again, I would like to eventually get to a point where I can split screen in the house. I'm not far off. I think I just need a long enough Ethernet cable to patch those together. But having extra copies of these is always great. And again, exclusives are ones that I like to look for, and again, when they are in good shape and for $1, can't pass them up. The last little bit I did, again, was also, this was all thrift shops for the most part, and there's some cartridge-based stuff here, which was surprising because that rarely happens in my area. But I'd recently sold off my loose copy of this game. So it's kind of ironic that I came across it for less than I sold the loose copy for, so I guess I win. But I now have a copy of Aladdin. It is not complete, but it at least has the box and the artwork. This game's a lot of fun. I know that a lot of people have the Super Nintendo Genesis conversation about this game, and I don't know, I found this one to be more enjoyable, but again, I also grew up with this one since I had a Genesis when I was young. Also came across for only a couple bucks a nice copy of Battle Chess. I recall playing this at a friend's house on the computer, and then I think I played, was it Star Wars Chess, which I think was out on the Sega CD as well. Interesting take on chess. It's kind of fun to watch the animations and the fights between the different pieces, and there's a lot of different combinations and a lot of things that you can see when you are playing that. Last cartridge-based game, but I couldn't pass up, even though the label is not fantastic, a copy of the Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. So this was the first Mega Man on the Game Boy. I have started to kind of look at Game Boy again. I have a couple of them, and I've actually displayed it back here now for once. So I'm looking for all of them. I know that there are some that are more rare than others, just like the NES games are, but I really dig Mega Man, and I'm happy to have that. The last grouping of games, again, pick these all up. Again, it's nice when you can find these things cheap, but I managed to find, I did not have this, a copy of this currently, but I love real-time strategy games. I'm starting to realize that. I've been playing a lot of Civilization Revolution lately, but I realized I did not have this one, forgot about it. I had played it, sold it back long time ago, but this is Halo Wars, and this is, again, set in the Halo universe, but it is an RTS, and they did a really good job catering the controls to a controller rather than a mouse and keyboard, which is what everyone says is the way to do RTS games. And I would tend to agree with them, but they actually did a nice job of adapting this one. So I'm happy to have that. Again, complete, even down to accessories for Xbox Live. Little insert there. The rest of these are for original Xbox, so happy to find some of these. And this first one actually completes a subset for me. Not necessarily one that I'm going to say I'm proud of, but I now have, this is Dance Dance Revolution Ultra Mix 2, and I have 1, 3, and 4. So I now have all the Dance Dance Revolution games on the Xbox, and no dance pad to play them with. So we'll have to remedy that at some point. Those go for cheap. I can find one, I'm sure. If I just wait, I will eventually find one. Like I said, another exclusive here. This is Quantum Redshift, which looks like a lot like a Wipeout type game. We have Project Gotham Racing 2. This one, I've heard some people talking about this lately because there's a lot of great games on here. This is the Capcom Classics collection. This was the first volume, and there's Street Fighter 2, Ghosts and Goblins, Legendary Wings, Bionic Commando, Forgotten Worlds, Ghouls and Ghosts, Section Z, 1942, Mercs Commando, Gunsmoke is on here, Final Fight. There's a couple other games on here, but I know they made 2 volumes of this, and apparently the second one is more sought after, but a lot of these are really good games, so I'm looking forward to being able to play those on a disc. The last 2 that I have, got a copy of The Punisher, which is, as I understand, a pretty brutal game, but I'm happy to have it. And then the last is Timesplitters 2. And I had a loose copy of this. If you remember, I found a loose copy. Hi, kitty. You can probably hear her. She's being really noisy. Timesplitters 2, I had a loose copy of this that came in that Goodwill pickup that I had. So now I actually found a complete copy of Timesplitters 2. So this was kind of the next, after GoldenEye, this was going to be the next big thing. I think Halo kind of superseded it, but a lot of people really enjoy Timesplitters. So good multiplayer action there. But yeah, that'll about do it for today. That is quite a few Xbox games that I just snagged. So I am looking forward to more Collections Chronicles videos coming up. I have some bigger things that I had mentioned. I think one of them is that right there. I'll explain what that is at some point in a future video, but I would like to thank you for coming by. If you find that you have stores that do those kind of clearance tables, because those are a great way to get filler for your collection, if you are looking for some of those random titles, and sometimes they throw a gem in here and there, which is actually really great. But I am going to leave you there. Again, thank you for stopping by. I have been Musty. Take care of yourself and be good to each other. Bye.